Hello everyone. Today I'm going to start a project in the kitchen, and I'm going to reface and paint these Formica cabinets. You may recognize these cabinets. They're from the late 80s, early 90s, and there's nothing wrong with them except they probably need to be updated now. What I plan to do is give the face of the cabinets a shaker style look. One of the problems that I'm going to have to try to do that is these wood handles trim boards. They kind of stick out farther than the Formica cabinet. So what I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this is I'm going to knock these off and then add a small filler strip. After adding the filler strip, I'm going to face the cabinets with utility trim and then paint the entire cabinet. If you stick with me for a couple of minutes, I'm going to show you how I do this. Okay, so this is a sample drawer front of the 1980s, 1990s cabinets that I'm going to be refacing. I think I have a total of 24 doors and drawers to do. This is just one of them. But this is the simplest way I found to remove this handle piece of wood trim that's up here on the top. And the reason this has to be removed to reface the cabinet is this is thicker than the door piece itself, the drawer piece itself. So you really would have trouble refacing this with this being thicker than this. So what I do is I simply remove it from the cabinet face itself, take a block of wood, and I'm just literally going to knock this piece off, because you'll see it's only held on with sometimes 3 to 4 finish nails. So you see what I've done. I've removed the top piece, or the handle / trim piece, from the face of the cabinet. And I'm going to discard this piece. And I'm going to replace it with a flat piece of wood stock that's the same width as the door is. And this is just simply pine board that I cut down and I pre-primed, and I'm going to attach it to the top of the drawer in this case, to make up for this piece that we just took off and discarded. To do that, I use tight bond glue. I'm now going to put my pre-cut piece of pine board on top. I'm going to clamp it. To kind of hold it in place, because I'm going to put 2 screws in the top to attach it. So I'm using these 70-year-old clamps. They're actually my father's, and I like to use them on projects because I believe then he's looking down on me and giving me good luck on this. So okay, so now that I have this lined up, in fact I'm gonna make a small adjustment here. I've got this piece lined up and I've got it clamped. You see? So everything's flush. It's flush from the front, and it's flush from the 2 sides. I then take a drill and I'm going to drill a hole, and by the way, I'm using a 5/32 bit in my drill. And I simply line it up from the top. Be very careful as I drill down that I get it straight. I'm going to do the same thing on both ends. Clean up the holes. Okay, I use a wood screw that's a number 8 and it's 2.5 inches long. I'm going to put it into the pre-drilled hole. Remove the clamps. And between the glue that I have here and the 2 screws, this will hold very nicely. And now the entire piece is flat, and you'll see in just a few minutes how I now attach the utility trim that I'm going to use around the perimeter of this piece. And that, by the way, this is 1.5 inches. The piece I'm going to put here is 3 inches. So the trim that I put in front here is going to hide this line. You'll never see it. And it's very strong, of course. It'll last. You shouldn't have any problems with it. Plus, I know you could attach this several different ways, with biscuits, with joiners, and all these kinds of things. They're great. They would work. I'm just giving you an option of using some very simple tools that most people have around the house to do this. Okay, in order to give what was once a plain door, the shaker style door, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this utility trim. It comes in 8-foot lengths, and it's 1/4 inch thick and 3 inches wide. And I primed them before I'm going to glue them down. And I'll show you what I did here. This is one of the doors. Again, I added this filler strip to, took off the original molding, added the filler strip. I then cut the utility trim to size, and I cut the length first and then the width. Make sure that it fits, and it does. And the next thing I do is I'm going to put some glue on the utility trim. And this glue that I'm using is made to go from Formica to glue. Formica to wood, sorry. Then after I have all the pieces glued up, talk when the compressor is on. So what I'm doing next is I'm using a brad nailer And I have finish nails that are 5/8 inch, so they won't go through the other side of the panel here. And I simply nail them in place. And these doors are going to be painted, so of course I'll fill in where some of the joints are. But this is basically how the door is going to turn out before you paint it. Well, the upper cabinets are now done, and you can see the difference, of course, between the old 80s style cabinets, which are I haven't gotten to yet, which are the base cabinets, and the new look of the upper cabinets. I'll give you a closer view. So these have been refaced and painted. These are the old, again, Formica cabinets from the 80s, early 90s that were this style. Had a more or less a wood handle. These cabinets in particular are 26 years old. I know that because I put them in 26 years ago in this place. This is a vacation place for our family, and if you didn't want to spend a lot of money refacing cabinets, I think this is the way to go. Just as a recap, I just want to show you a few things. When you remove these doors or the drawers, if this piece of wood looks intimidating to you that you don't know how to get it off, it comes off real easy. It's only attached with some finish nails and some glue. Again, as I showed you before, I just took a block of wood and a hammer and tapped them off. Once they were off, then I used a piece of pine board that I cut down, that's the same width as the cabinet doors, and I used this as a filler. I used a 2.5 inch screw, 2 on each filler strip, to go from the filler strip into the cabinet door. That gives the door its complete height. After that, I used 1/4 inch by 3 inch utility trim. I found it at one of the big box stores. It's pine. It was not stained or primed, but I primed it before I put it up. I attached this utility trim to the face of the cabinets, and I did that with a glue and 5/8 inch brad nails. I painted both well, first of all, I did sand the frame of the cabinets. I know some people say you don't have to, but these cabinets being 26 years old, they've seen a lot of wear, and I took out a lot of the blemishes that it once had over the 26 years. I also used Kills 123 as the primer paint. I'm real happy with this, although I did paint it 2 coats. The same with the regular color, the finished color, which I used Benjamin Moore Advance. It's like a cabinet grade paint, and this particular paint is a satin to give it just a little bit of a sheen. I used a good quality brush and a foam roller. I think it's turned out really well. Again, I did paint it 2 coats. I didn't want to get, in this video, I didn't want to get too heavy into the painting techniques because you'll see a ton of videos out there regarding painting. I just took my time, again, painted 2 coats of the primer, 2 coats of the regular color. I used a tack cloth in between each coat and a vacuum, and I think that's important because it cleans up a lot of the dust. A foam roller again, and a very good brush, and I think I got good results. I'm going to do the lowers next, the base cabinets, to complete this job, but I don't think that that with the paint, the trim, the primer, a few other, the glue and a few other things, I don't even have $200 into this job, so it's really pretty economical. And again, especially if you're not looking to spend a ton of money. In this case, again, this is a vacation home for our family, and it gets occasional use. So we didn't want to spend another $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 on new cabinets, and again, for under $300, you know, this is the results, and this is what we accomplished. So thanks for listening to the video. I tried to make it as short as possible, but still get across the main points. So I hope this helped with any of your future projects. Thank you.